Hey, Niner fans, how are you doing out there? I was gonna do a video about a couple of days ago, right after the Rams and 49er game, and a review video, and I didn't get to have a chance because the holidays and running around doing this and that. So I'm doing that video now, and I'm gonna talk about that game. But this video is gonna be two segments. First one, I'm gonna talk about the 49ers and the Rams game. And then in the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about the game coming up against Seattle. But talking about the Rams game, that game had me a little bit nervous. I mean, when we got down 14-3, I thought that we were in trouble. I mean, I did. Because I was like thinking, I was thinking of the Seattle Rams game where the Rams just toppled Seattle, and I was like, oh man, I hope that doesn't happen to us. But it didn't. Our guys stood tough. They stayed with it, and they stayed tough and played hard, and got the victory. And one thing that was really knocking our defense off balance, and it was kind of annoying all night, was Jared Goff and the Rams offense. I noticed they were running a lot of rollout plays, a lot of bootlegs, rollouts, screen passes. That was knocking our defense off a little balance. It was kind of knocking us off balance a little bit. But there were a couple of series where we did make some stops. But this is how it's going to be. I think teams are always going to attack our defense like that. It's a copycat league, and I would suspect in the next game it's going to be that way again. But I think it's good. It's good experience for our guys on defense to experience these kind of offensive schemes, or for our defense to get experience against these kind of offensive schemes against us. You know, so I think it's a good learning experience for the younger guys on defense. But it was annoying. I mean, we gotta, it's kind of hard to send the blitz when you have a quarterback that's rolling out of the pocket this way and rolling out this way. The screen passes, you bring up the pressure, and he just kind of lops it off like that to a running back, and the running back picks up a first down. So these are things that they're going to have to definitely make adjustments for, especially going into the playoffs. Um, I think that so our defense started playing well for a while. It did what it had to do to make some stops to allow our offense to get back into the game. There was a pick six, and it was by Fred Warner. He returned it back for a touchdown, and I think that really gave us the momentum from there. It was kind of like the needle in the Rams' balloon at that point, because once we got that pick six, all the momentum was in our favor, and we just uh, took control of the game and won. So that was huge for us, and the thing is about like Jimmy Garoppolo. The thing that I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. Um, I think though, I mean, there are things that kind of annoy me about his game, the way he plays. It's the fact that sometimes we all know, he throws interceptions, maybe one or two a game. Another thing that's been kind of bothering me lately is holding on to the ball too long. I think we're all noticing that now, and but I think that as far as him going out there and helping us get a win, he's proven that. He's proven that, because I remember in the beginning of the season, everybody said Jimmy Garoppolo, he hasn't shown us yet that he can lead a team down the field in the closing moments of a game and win it, or put the team in a position to win. He's answered that question. In fact, he answered that question as early on in the season when we were playing against the Steelers. We had all kinds of problems in that game, and turnovers, penalties, and all that. But in that game, he led them down the field and threw a winning touchdown for them to win that game against the Steelers. He proved it against the Saints. That game against the Saints, he went head to toe with Drew Brees in that game, a quarterback shootout, and they had the ball. They had the ball last. Went down the he got him down the field with George Kittle. They worked it all the way down there, and they got in range for a winning field goal. Same thing happened in the Rams game too. So in the Rams game, he did the same thing too, and it was very clutch too, because in the Rams game, it was twice. It was 3rd and 16, and he converted. I think the first one he converted on 3rd and 16. It was like a 16-yard pass or something like that, and then the second one was a 46-yard bomb down the field to Emmanuel Sanders, and that was amazing. I mean, the Rams had us in the corner there for a while. I don't want Jimmy to hold on to the ball too long, because it kind of hurts things. It kind of I don't like losing yards. Losing yards kills drives. In this case, he was able to cheat it, but most of the time, you lose yards, it kills drives, and I would suggest for him to roll out of the pocket. If he's got nothing open, just roll out of the pocket and throw it out of bounds. Don't lose the yards. It's okay. I don't mind losing it down. I just don't want to lose yards. So that's what he should do. Or if he can, pick up something with his feet. He said in the press conference, though, he doesn't like to run much anymore. He'd rather throw. But it was a good, it was another good game. But our defense did give up a lot of points and a lot of yards, and that does concern me. Going into the playoffs, we got to get that fixed. We got to get it fixed fast. The Rams, of course, from their loss, we beat them. We eliminated them from the playoffs by beating them. But it's almost kind of fitting, because right now we're in position to win the NFC West, and we just eliminated last year's NFC West champions, and now we have a chance to become the new NFC West champions. So that will have me turning to the Seattle game now. Now I'm going to talk about the Seattle game, because that's all about the NFC West. I don't know if you guys, everybody's heard by now that Marshawn Lynch is back with the Seattle Seahawks. I think that was, I think that the Seahawks are very desperate right now, because they're banged up. I mean, they are banged up. They got a lot of guys on defense that are banged up. I think 3 of their biggest running backs are out with injuries. They brought in Marshawn Lynch just for the playoffs, just for the NFC or not the NFC Championship game, but the NFC Western game. The game for the NFC West. That's they're bringing in for that, and they're bringing them in for the playoffs, and so it's going to be interesting. I don't know if he still has it in him or not. He's 33 years old. He hasn't played since week 6 of last year, from what I understand. So he may not be the same. He may not be the same. So he's got to get into the conditioning and all this other stuff to get him up to speed. But I'm not sure. But you never know. It could be a problem for us. But then again, because of him not playing much and all that, he could pull a hamstring in that game. He could pull a hamstring, not playing for a long time. He could get a hamstring. It's possible, going up against young defensive players, guys in their 20s. So, we'll see what happens with that. We picked up Marshawn Lynch can be a problem. I'm not sure if it'll be a problem or not. Only time will tell. I think the Seahawks will probably pick up somebody, probably some guys on defense maybe this week. Pete Carroll does not like losing to us, and he doesn't. He wants to try to keep, beating us. He likes beating. He tries to beat us every time he gets a chance. But I just think that this is a game we have to win. We got to win this game. It's not just because it's the NFC West championship game, for the NFC West. but it also will allow us to rest guys. We have a lot of injuries. It will allow us to rest a lot of our players, and and I think that's important. But it's not just for those things, but it's also about pride. I mean, getting the bye and all that, winning the division, that's all important. But winning this game is also about pride. This Seattle Seahawks, over the past years, they have, for the most part, have had our number, and they have messed us up a lot of times. I mean, there was a time when we had an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl and almost did. They ruined that for us. There was a time we were trying to make a playoff run, and we lost to them in the Thanksgiving game, which kind of was the beginning of the end of our playoff run that year. And that loss kind of messed things up. They've kept us from winning the NFC West at times, and losing to them this Sunday is unthinkable. It's just unthinkable because I get to a point where I get so frustrated losing to them. I sometimes wish they would just go back to the AFC West. Okay, we're having trouble with you guys. Just get the heck out of here. It's kind of like that. I get frustrated. I just can't imagine losing to them this Sunday. I just cannot imagine. I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking that we're going to probably beat them because they have a lot of injuries. I mean, we have a lot of injuries too. But a lot of people think we're going to, you know, beat them easily. I don't know. I'm not sure that could. I mean, they bring in Marshawn Lynch. And Russell Wilson, the guy's got experience. He and Pete Carroll are the only things that are keeping that team afloat. And, so it could be a difficult time. It's going to be noisy. It's going to be loud. And the fact that they signed Marshawn Lynch to the team, that's going to even make people even louder and crazier at that game. So it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. But losing that game is unthinkable. I don't know how. I don't know how, if we lose to the Seahawks, I don't know how I'm going to act. I mean, I don't know how it'll be, but the thing is, the keys to that game, we got to run the football. We got to run the football because they're banged up. Some of their guys on the defensive line are banged up. We need to run the football. Just keep running that football. I mean, pass it at times, but let's try to wear down their defense a little bit. Even their defense is injured, so you want to try to wear it down a little more. So then you go to your passing game and start picking them apart. So you want to get that running game going. That's important. Another thing that's important too is can't have penalties, because when we have penalties, the officials, they get into a frenzy. Especially because when we go up to Seattle and we get into penalty trouble, those officials are just on us all game long. We gotta try to not get a lot of penalties in that game. Another thing is we cannot turn the football over. We cannot turn the football over. The Seahawks are a very opportunist team. You turn the football over, and they will try to make you pay. They will try to make you pay. They will try to take advantage of that situation. That's how they win a lot of these games. When they're down by a score or whatever, and the other team seems to be dominating the game, and then that team makes that one little mistake, the Seahawks will jump on it as quickly as possible and come back and win the game. But they've had a lot of miracle wins. I mean, you would think that the football gods are Seahawk fans or something, because that team gets through a lot of miracles. But we're going to have, plus also another thing too is we have to try to get after Russell Wilson, I think. I guess for our defense has to get after Russell Wilson. But I think that another thing that's going to be important is another thing I think is going to be important is we're going to have to also concentrate on stopping Marshawn Lynch, because he is going to give us. I think he's going to give. He could give us a problem. I don't know what shape he's in. Like I said, I don't know. we got to be ready for him regardless. And we cannot let Russell Wilson get outside of those pockets. We can't let him roll this way, roll that way. That's what's been getting us in trouble in some of these games. Like, that's what Jared Goff was doing to us last week. This is what was going on in those other games, like the game against the Ravens. In the other Seahawks game, even Kyle Murray with the Cardinals, they've been doing that. So we have got to get that under control, because I guarantee you they're going to probably use Russell Wilson on a lot of rollouts and bootlegs and probably screen passes to Marshawn Lynch. We got to be ready for everything. It's so important to win that game. It really is. I mean, like I said, I just cannot imagine how I would be feeling if we lose that game. I mean, I probably would be I'd probably get on here and do a video after that game, and I would probably be having a hard time not using bad language. I just cannot imagine losing to that team again, in an important game like this. I just can't imagine it. We have got to win that game, folks. We have got to win that game. There's no ifs or buts about it. I'm sick and tired of us always taking the back seat to them. That's how it's been. I'm a proud 49er fan and stuff like this, but I'm not gonna lie to you. The Seahawks have dominated this division since they've got to it. When they became part of the NFC West, they have been to the playoffs a lot more than we have. I think they've won the division more times than we have. And they've been to more Super Bowls than we have in recent years. So they have been pretty much dominating this division, and they've been beating us a lot. And also keep in mind, too, we have not won a game up there since 2011. Russell Wilson wasn't even the quarterback back then. Russell Wilson wasn't drafted in 2012, and I don't think it was Matt Hasselbeck that was the quarterback of the Seahawks back then. I think it was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Matt Hasselbeck. I think that he was gone at that time. But yeah, So we've never beaten Russell Wilson up there, ever. Since he came into the league, we've never beaten him up there. So that's another thing that we could look at. But it's gonna be tough. I don't know that you can look at this game and say it's easy. I know I hear a lot of fans saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy. They're all banged up and all that. Maybe not. Maybe not. Because if you look at some of our games this year, like for instance, the two Cardinal games, we thought we were going to trounce all over them in both of those games, and that wasn't what happened. They basically gave us a scare in both those games. There was the Atlanta game. We thought we were going to roll all over them. And what did they do? They beat us in our own backyard. So, you can't look at an opponent and say, well, they're not very good in this area. They're not very good in that area. They got this injury here and there. They game plan. They game plan and they will surprise. They surprise. So I'm not going to look at the Seahawks game like it's going to, because the backups they'll have in there, those guys are going to be playing. They're going to be fired up from that crowd noise and from Marshawn Lynch's presence, because he does ignite a locker room. He's said to get a team up for a game. So that's important, people. We have got to go into that game, and we have got to beat them. Because I tell you, I cannot imagine how I would feel. I don't know how any of us would feel if we lose at a big game like that to the Seahawks. Can you imagine? I just hope our guys don't let us down. They have got to go in there and they got to take that game at all costs. They got to put everything on the line. They got to. They have. Even if they have to. I don't want to see any injuries, but if they have to sacrifice themselves just to win that game, so be it. Because in the end of the day, you win the game and you get some injuries, but at least you'll have a bye to rest those guys. I mean, I don't want any serious injuries or anything, but this is a big, big game, and this could mean a lot for this team if they can win that game. And I just have visions of that NFC Championship game up there. You know, I have visions. I mean, they have been in our way a lot. They have been a roadblock. We have got to learn how to beat that team. We have to learn to beat that team. Because if we can't beat them in the most important games, whether it be an NFC Championship game or a game for the NFC Championship or we're trying to make playoffs, if we cannot, if we can't beat them, if they're always going to be the roadblock and keeping us from wherever we want to go, we might as well forget it. Because they are going to compete with us and they're going to always get in our way and try to keep us from where we want to go. That's why it's important that we learn how to beat these guys. Now, we beat them last year, but that game, that was mostly a game for pride and being a spoiler. But a game like what's coming up Sunday night, that game is for something. That's for playoff and divisional implications. It has that involved, and we got to win that game. I can't imagine. This kind of game, kind of just, I don't know, man. I think we're a good team. I think we're capable of beating them. But those Seahawks have always had our number for so long, and it always seems like no matter what the circumstances, they always do it to us every time, and it's so annoying. It's so I can't stand it. Man, we lose to those guys. We've lost to those guys a lot. So we're gonna have to go in there and win that game. Because if we can't go in there and win, and we have to go on the road with our injuries, we're not going to go far. While the Seahawks get the rest of their players, we got to stop being the backseat. We have to stop taking a backseat to this team in the division all the time. I'm sick of it. They always finish ahead of us. I'm tired of it. We've got to beat them. That's all there is to it. If we're going to flip the script in this division, we got to start learning how to beat these guys. I am concerned about this game. I really am. I think I think maybe the idea that they're bringing in Marshawn Lynch, maybe that's got me a little nervous because I remember those days when he just used to give us fists. I mean, his runs were like daggers to us in certain games. And gosh, man, I want to win this game so bad. But here's a frustrating thought. That game we lost to Atlanta, that was a game that we should have won. That was a game we were supposed to win. And had we won that game, we would be resting our players for the Seattle game. Think about that. That was a game we should have won. And if we had won that game and then won the game against the Rams, which we did, then we could be enjoying the holidays more. We could be enjoying Christmas more because we know that we'd already have. I think we still would have. Well, we would still have to play for something. I think if we had it wrapped up, we'd still have to play for something because we're still playing for that top seed. So we probably would still have to win a game in Seattle, because if you look at all three teams right now, us, Green Bay, the Saints, all three of us, we all have 12-3 records. So that game, that last game of the season on Sunday, would be really important to us. Would even be important too. But we could rest most of our guys, I think. But yeah, if we had beaten Atlanta like we were supposed to, that was a game we were supposed to win. We would be really in good shape right now. We'd have won the division already. But it's going to be an interesting game. We just need to go out there and take care of business, and I just cannot imagine losing to those guys. I just can't imagine the feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because I work at a place with Seahawk fans, and I'm the only Niner fan in that workplace. And believe me, I have nobody backing me up. I live in the Northwest. I live in the Portland, Oregon area, and you know, we're not Seattle. We're not the state of Washington. But because we're Northwest, you go into a department store, Seahawks, 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 Seahawks merchandise everywhere. If you want to get 49ers stuff, you have to go to the mall to get it. At one of those stores like called Just Sports that sell all that stuff, hats and stuff. Or order the stuff online. But you go into a Walmart, you go into a Target. It's just Seahawks stuff everywhere, man. It's ridiculous. But we got to win that game. And there's no ifs, buts about it. We have to. It's not just to rest players. It's not just to win the division, but it's also for pride. Because these guys have had our number for so long. I keep saying that, but I don't like losing to them. Pete Carroll doesn't want to ever lose to us. That's why they made that desperate move to get Marshawn Lynch. That I think they were looking at A.J. Anderson, but I didn't get him because I think he turned them down. There was also that other guy they used to have. What's the name? Turbin or something. They were talking about him. But we're going to have to really go into this game. We're going to have to play good defense. Certainly, I don't know how good Marshawn Lynch is going to be when he comes back. But if he comes back like he used to look, he does add another element to their offense. I mean, because if you don't have Marshawn Lynch in there, you can just concentrate on one guy, and that's the quarterback. But now we have to worry about him, Russell Wilson, and Marshawn Lynch. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with Marshawn Lynch. If he's not in really good shape, he could pull a hamstring in that game, not playing for a long time, not having a preseason or anything. Because he didn't play since last year, week 6. So we'll see what happens with that. But I really don't want to lose this game. We've got to win it. And because if we lose, we're going to look back at those games that we lost, those close games that we lost, and be telling ourselves those were games we should have won. We wouldn't be in this situation right now had we won that game against Atlanta or those other games, for that matter. But it's going to be an interesting game. I think I think we're 3-point favorites. Vegas has us as 3-point favorites. And I think that we're going, but I hear some of these guys on the NFL Network. They're saying the Seahawks the Seahawks are a little better than the 49ers. Seahawks have a lot of injuries too. They got a lot of injuries on defense. That's weird. It's like these people on the NFL Network and ESPN talk about the Seahawks like they're the 2013 team. Like they're still that 2013 team with the Legion of Boom. They're not. I think they're good. I think they're good, but I don't think they're certainly not what they used to be. So that's all I want to say. This video I'm doing is about almost a half an hour long. I guess it was. But anyways, everybody, take care, and we'll talk about this next week, and hopefully it'll be a celebration. So everybody, take care, and I'll talk to you all later. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot to say, we also did get we signed a new player, a defensive end. I can't remember his name. Is it Anthony Zettel or something like that? Zettel or something like that. I was watching some video on him because every time we sign a player, that's the first thing I do is I go onto YouTube and I look for highlights of those players, and he looks pretty darn good. I mean, he looked like a pretty mean guy. He the way he plays kind of reminds me of Cowboy. Justin Smith. But I think he might be good for us. We certainly could use more defensive line help. But I think Anthony Zettel, or something like that, if I pronounced it right. He played with the Lions and he played with the Browns, I believe. But anyways, that's all I want to talk about. Everybody have a good holiday season. Whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Period. So everybody take care, and we'll be feeling good after next Sunday night. All right, everybody take care.